I've been selling properties in Canberra for 10 years now, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that every single property owner who sells above market rate does these same 5 things. But if you're thinking about selling your home in Canberra and you want to get the best possible price, then you need to know what these 5 things are. Now, I'm not talking about some magic formula or secret trick. I'm talking about a proven process that I've used to help hundreds of property owners get results like this. I had a property in Belconnen that we thought might sell around the $1.1 million mark. With the right approach, it attracted 100 buyers, 13 registered bidders, and sold for $1.38 million. That's $280,000 above what we initially expected. I'm Steve Lowe from Agent Team, and I've been in Canberra's top 1% of agents for years. But before I was selling properties, I was building them. That building background gives me a unique perspective on what actually adds value to a property and what's just wasted money. So if you want to know the exact 5 things that every successful seller does to get above market rate in Canberra, stick around. But first, let me explain what I mean when I say above market rate. In Canberra, there are actually 2 prices for every property. The first is what I call comparative market value. That's where we compare your property against others that have actually sold. This is tricky because no 2 properties are exactly the same, especially houses. But then there's market value. Market value is when you take that comparative value and improve it through strategic marketing and presentation. Think about it like this. Why do you pay so much more for a bottle of Evian water? It's not actually because it's from some magical spring where Adam and Eve were frolicking around. That doesn't exist. You pay more because of marketing. Evian is actually naive, spelled backwards. The same principle applies to your property. So here are the 5 things every property owner who sells above market rate does. First, they choose an agent who is prepared to have difficult conversations. This might sound obvious, but hear me out. In Canberra, you're spoilt for choice. There's 1,500 agents for a population of 400,000 people. But it's the top performing agents who are willing to have difficult conversations up front because they know how it optimizes your sale price. I've seen too many agents who are scared to tell owners that their house isn't marketable because of the bright green feature walls they've painted. They don't want to hurt feelings, so they avoid the conversation. Then when the property goes on the market and doesn't sell for what the owners expect, it's because those crucial conversations never happened. Look for agents who are in the top 10 in Canberra. They're transacting between 60 to 130 properties per year. They're obviously doing something right, and they're not afraid to tell you what needs to be done. The second thing they do is make sure the property is turnkey ready. If you don't do the work, you'll attract fewer buyers, and the buyers that you do attract, they'll allocate part of their budget to fixing those issues. They're not going to do the work at the same rate that we can get it done before marketing. I sold a property that proves this perfectly. We put it on the market as is. Fluoro green bedrooms, torn carpet, the dogs had actually been living in it. The best offer we got was $580,000. Even when I showed buyers quotes for the work that was needed to be done, they wouldn't engage. So we pulled it off the market. We spent $60,000 fixing it up and put it back on. It sold within 3 weeks for $800,000. Buyers who had seen it before came back and said it felt familiar. I told them, yeah, you had a chance to buy this 5 weeks ago for a lot less than we're getting for it now. The key is strategic improvements. Fresh paint inside and out, new flooring, updated lighting, and fixing obvious defects from the building report, and proper presentation and marketing. You might invest $10,000 to $15,000, but on $1 million property, that can increase the value by $30,000 to $40,000 or even more. Another thing that property owners do to sell their property above market value is they price it conservatively to create competition. I know that this might sound counterintuitive, but it works. When we're setting a price guide for an auction, we know roughly where the property will sell based on our comparative market analysis, and we communicate that really clearly to buyers and show them the sales that we're comparing it against. Here's the thing. If you price it too high, you get 0 phone calls, no emails, and no one shows up to the first open home, making it really hard to negotiate with thin air. But if you price it conservatively, you might get 50 people through the first open home, 10 people making offers. That competition drives the price up to true market value or above. That Belconnen property I mentioned earlier was supported by comparable sales evidence at around 1.1 million, which also happened to be at the lower end of the seller's expectations. By pricing it conservatively and backing it with high quality marketing campaigns, we attracted more than 100 buyers through the doors, 13 registered bidders on auction day. That strong competition pushed the final result to 1.38 million, well above the comparative estimate and the owner's initial expectations. Remember, you're much better off being conservative and selling within the first few weeks. The longer a property sits on the market, the less buyers expect to pay because they wonder what is wrong with it. These smart sellers also invest in high exposure marketing, which is the 4th thing on my list. I've tried every marketing tool out there. Video tours, 360 tours, drone photography, you name it. But here's what I've learned. It all comes down to the basics being done really well. Your property has to pass the online test first. People couch surf properties these days. If there's one photo that deters them, be it poor lighting or again that bright green feature wall, they won't bother coming to the open home. The most important investment is professional photography shot on a clear sunny day with proper lighting and post-production editing. Yes, we can add virtual tours and all the bells and whistles, but if the basic photos don't look amazing, none of that other stuff matters. And here's something that most sellers overlook: the physical property brochure. Serious buyers collect brochures from Saturday open homes. They take them home, they spread them out on the kitchen table, and they start drawing on the floor plans, imagining extensions or changes. That property brochure keeps your property top of mind and helps them form an emotional connection. For advertising, don't cut corners. All Homes is the #1 website in Canberra. 70% of our buyer inquiry comes from All Homes. Yes, it costs $2,000 and there are cheaper alternatives that might save you $1,500 in marketing, but you will discount your sale price by $20,000 to $30,000. If there is one buyer out there willing to pay top dollar, we need to find them and more. And then the last thing is they work with buyers, not against them. Buyers don't like salespeople. They don't like real estate agents, and they definitely don't like feeling manipulated. They want to talk to a real human. My approach is simple. I work closely with buyers to help them understand the process, the pros and cons, and I support them through making an offer and getting through to settlement. A confident buyer moves forward. A buyer who feels like they're having the wool pulled over their eyes simply doesn't. Now, if you've done everything right and followed this process and your property still hasn't sold, there's only one thing left that it could be, and that is the price. I recently had a property where the initial price was just a touch too high. We weren't getting much traction. There was only a handful of buyers through the door and no serious offers. I had a conversation with the owners and encouraged them to drop the price by $15,000 to bring it into the active part of the market where most buyers were actively looking. They agreed, so we adjusted the guide and within 48 hours we had a fresh wave of inquiries. The following weekend the open home was packed, and just a few days later we received multiple offers, one which was actually higher than the original asking price. So making a price adjustment doesn't mean you're giving up or underselling. It often repositions your property into a more active part of the market where you'll attract a whole new group of buyers. In some cases, that renewed interest creates competition, and that competition can drive the final price back up, sometimes even beyond your original guide. Look, I've shared these 5 things because I've seen them work hundreds of times over the past 10 years. But here's the reality. Every property, every seller, and every market situation is different. These 5 things are the framework, but how you apply them needs to be tailored to your specific situation. That's why when I work with sellers, we do extensive discovery. Where do you want to move? When do you need to sell? And what is your target price? Are you willing to invest in the optimization process? As I'm asking these questions, I'm developing a strategy that's unique to your requirements. For example, I'm working with clients right now that are looking to move into a retirement village. We've been able to negotiate early access into the retirement village, which means that we can now put their house on the market, present it properly, and optimize optimize their sale outcome without them having to live through that sale process. This is going to be a great result for these sellers. As you can see, there's no one-size-fits-all approach, but we tailored a solution using our problem-solving approach. If you're thinking about selling in Canberra and you want to know how these 5 things apply to your specific situation, I'd love to have a conversation. Link is in the description below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.